Evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Always Smiling Faces podcast.
Oh, very quick. That was really quick. I was expecting more. There's normally more of a buffer at the start.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Well, we apologise for the delay. We had technical difficulties. But we are here now.
We are, yes, and we were having some camera issues that we have now resolved. So do not adjust your sets. I am back. I am very brown.
You've got a tan there, like what?
That's 2 weeks in the sun that does that.
It's gone now. It's been faded a bit.
You've still got a bit of colour on you.
I'm gutted, me. Like, mine's gone. Like, I was really brown when I came. My legs were tremendous, but now we're just back now, northeast weather.
One being Christy, a couple of swallow cracking like the now.
It just goes straight away, doesn't it?
Get yourselves the tan fast stick. Top yourselves up the top.
Aye, get a quick tan or something. Yeah.
Kind of pot one in Jared.
How's your white bits looking?
White as ever.
But enough of the suntans and holiday frivolities. We're here to talk Newcastle United. Yes, and I think we're going to have a good one tonight, lads.
Well, I hope so, mate. Yes. No, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Yes, it is.
It is. And I'm glad you took both, spare time away from the training ground to join us tonight.
Yeah, well, we didn't text each other. I've been here all day. To be fair, I was working here, so. But when you come in, I thought I just came off the training ground, like, to be fair, mate.
I've done a few putting Joe through paces, like,
Yeah. Well, like new signings, man.
It is indeed. So, Man City, we played yesterday in a late kick-off on the afternoon. Touch and go whether I would make it myself, but I did get there.
Just about there, right? Is it late kick-off half
4:30?
That's late, because there's only 4, isn't it?
I think it's moved at 5:30 for the television, haven't it?
Yeah, it's changed the last couple of seasons now, hasn't it? Because so they can squeeze that extra game in.
Afterwards. So they squeeze the late kick-off in.
No, beforehand. They've got the lunchtime, then the early afternoon, and then the
2 o'clock. So is that one afterwards?
No.
Not Sunday. So, yeah.
La Liga, maybe I'm thinking of what I was trying to Barcelona last night. So, yeah. I did before, great that.
Yeah.
Lads, I've got a question, right, before talking football and stuff.
Okay.
This is a weird one, right? It's something I've just kind of thought of. Like, your feet stop growing when you stop growing, right? When you stop getting taller, your feet stop growing. Because I've been a size 11 for like 20 years.
Right.
And now size 11's too small for us. So I had to buy 11 and a half.
You think they're getting bigger?
They're getting bigger?
Aye. So I get blissed. I've wearing these shoes. I've wearing them in because I've got them at the weekend. Like my gym shoes and training shoes, I'm normally fine with. Size 11, no bother. I did that all the time as well because I'm a child of the 90s and that. But like, over the past couple of years, every new pair of shoes, I get blisters off straight away. Always size 11, always that. So I'm thinking, like, is it something with the shoes? Am I lacing them up wrong? Am I wearing the wrong socks? Has something changed in footwear that I've not been aware of? And then I'm thinking, I thought, out of curiosity, I tried the 10 and a half at the weekend. Too small, feet rub like mad at the back. 11, feet rub like mad. 11 and a half, raker.
And what are you normally?
11. So I've gone up half a size. About 20 years after. Like, after 20 years at 11, I've gone up.
Unless you've put weight on your feet, as you say. Maybe how's the diet been, Bestie?
Not great, I'm honest. Like, having a second kid's absolutely crippled us. Like, it might be a diabetes thing. I don't know if anyone's in any podiatrists or kind of diabetic experts watching or listening.
Maybe it's because it's been hot and you just swelled up a bit.
Maybe water retention. Or something
water
like
retention.
Yeah, maybe
could be
over like 3 years. Because every new pair of shoes I've had for like.
Well, it takes a while to get down there.
It does. It's a long way to go. Like, so I mean, we'll get back to football now, but just that's my kind of. It's a burning issue. Only in the best household it is like a high.
Well, somebody that's had enormous feet and we're putting them to good use yesterday.
Oh no,
well, he has got particularly large ones. Unless you watch a certain Simpsons episode where it's all fake and he just wears big shoes.
Yeah.
So, conspiracy theories.
And early Simpsons as well, that one.
It is. But we digress yet again. Let's get on to City.
Is that what Eddie Howe said yesterday afternoon?
I think he did. Pre-match, let's get into them, lads. Let's get stuck in there.
Well, what was your thoughts going into the game? Were you thinking we're going to get hammered? Were you thinking we'll probably get beat? But let's just give it a go. What was your writing thoughts?
I didn't think we were going to get humped because I don't think Eddie will allow us to go down that route, and kind of he's a bit more tactically astute to look at what's happening on the pitch and maybe
It did happen
make
against them with
adjustments
him
and stuff.
last time.
It did, but I think we've learned a lot in our time since then. Very, very brave decision, I think, to take the game to City in the manner that we did and the formation we did. And, you know, again, a bit of a masterclass from Eddie Howe and taking a bit of a risk.
Before the game, I would have settled for a 3-0 defeat. I thought it's 5-0 last year, 4-0 at St James's.
Yeah.
I thought 3-0s against Man City, that they are that good. That a 3-0 at home to them or a 3-0 defeat to them, home or away, is kind of like, oh, well, it's not as heavy as it could have been. And I must admit, when they went 1-up after 5 minutes, and the way we played for the first 10 minutes and the way they played for the first 10 minutes, I thought 3-0 could be half time. 3-0, yeah. Like we looked all over the place early on. I thought a lot of the shape seemed to go. I think Eddie might have had to get a hold of them at some point because we seemed to be chasing an awful lot, and you could see them pulling around. I thought, fuck, this is going to be. I think someone put in our WhatsApp group, it's going to be a long afternoon. This, and obviously it wasn't.
Well, the lineup, I was a bit. Obviously, we spoke with Andy on Monday.
Yeah.
And he had mentioned Target had a dead leg.
Yeah.
So I honestly thought he'd be back in yesterday. And obviously he wasn't. So I may be suggesting that is going to be.
Is the camera gone again? Yeah. Are we still? Can you still hear? Yeah. And, sorry, listeners and viewers. Well, you can't view, can you?
Obviously, with Target being injured.
Yeah.
It must be long. It must be a worse one. Then it can't just be a dead. Unless
it's actually died.
Well, unless he's decided I'm just gonna, I'm happy enough to go with the same team. Maybe he was impressed with Brighton, or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I just thought with Target, if Target only had a dead leg, I expected him to be straight back in.
Definitely. I mean, the Brighton game for all defended pretty well for the most part and kept a clean sheet. I mean, the Pope was probably the man of the match. There was 2 clear off the line, and they missed some great chances. So, I was expecting it. I think if Target is fit, he comes back in. But Dan Burn did play fullback a few times for Brighton.
Oh yeah,
so he's not a total novice. So it's just weird because he's like 6 foot, a million, or whatever he is.
You don't expect him to be a fullback.
It's not the right. You know, you think the fullback's going to be a shorter, dead rapid, little kind of like a Beresford or a David Santon or who.
Because I think what we also discussed on Monday was about obviously Botman, because you're throwing Botman in there pretty early against Haaland and all the rest of the gang. So that I would say I was a little bit worried, if I'm honest with you, at the back there. And after 10 minutes in, I was really worried.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought Shea lost his man for the goal.
Yeah, the goal was awful.
It was really bad. The Gundogan had to. It wasn't a great touch he took either.
No.
But he had a chance to take that touch and then kind of steady himself and then.
You should not be able to be in the 6-yard box and be so unmarked to take a touch the way he did, and then it was just awful. It was to the Newcastle that we've seen. In yesteryear, I feel like.
To be fair though, that's how Man City play. They've always got players that just pop up in those places, make those little runs into the box, and we've seen it time and time again, regardless of who that they're playing up against. So I think we maybe been a bit harsh on our defence there. Yes, you can
it's bad,
look at individuals and stuff like that, but
I think
that's what City do.
I've said this for years as well about stopping crosses. I never understand why a fullback or someone. There was 3 players, 3 of them tried. Like they followed the lad who crossed the ball eventually, but they were miles off him. And I thought for him to be able to cross the ball in was far too easy as well. But anyway, when it was 1-0 down, I have to be fair, I was a bit worried. Like I seen a few people complaining about they were surprised at the lineup as well, like in terms of the shape, and they were expecting changes after Brighton. Personally, I was expecting that shape. I was expecting them to stay the way that we play, right?
Well, the exception of Dan Burn playing left back.
I accept that,
The exception of that, it's been the same team all 3 games so far, so I don't really... I mean, that team that...
I've seen quite a few people...
See how Forest have played, and Newcastle totally nullified the first game. Granted, they had less time as a unit and didn't have the players that have now, all of them at least. But we made Forest look very, very average. And Brighton have had a couple of good results as well away from our game against them. So maybe the fact that it's down to Newcastle playing well against them as opposed to Forest being shit or Brighton having played Danny Welbeck was like 100 up front. He's actually really good. He's like Welbeck. He's doing well there. But yeah, I think. I mean, on the whole, I know Mark said it was maybe a bit harsh to point the finger at the defence there a little bit. On the whole, I thought they were like phenomenal, brilliant.
Oh,
I mean, it's not often you concede 3 goals and you look at the defence and think, well, actually, they played pretty well today. Then.
Yeah.
But there were instances, and we'll come to a few more, where you think that was a little bit, that could have been better. But there again, you're playing against the kind of caveat. You've got like Cancelo putting the balls in, you've got De Bruyne playing from deep. You've got
Silva was
Haaland,
unbelievable.
Silva's a great player, wonderful player. Him so yeah, I mean, you've got to remember they are like a wonderful, wonderful football team, Man City.
Oh, yeah, unbelievable.
And obviously it looks like they're going to win the league again. 3 games in, it's a bit.
Yeah,
it's a bit early to say that. But
I guess that's kind of what I was saying is that you can look at those, but you've sometimes just got to appreciate what you're coming up against and the quality that they bring. And jumping massively ahead, but I think Pep did the reverse of that as well at the end, and like when he was asked the question about their performance in the first half by one of the reporters who talked about it being horrible, and he heavily praised Newcastle and you know that we were putting in a performance and stuff like that. So you know it's you can only beat what's in front of you.
And he wasn't wrong, mind.
He wasn't.
I think I'd say from 10-15 minutes in until we got the 3rd goal, we were absolutely rampant.
Yeah. We were battering them.
Totally.
And
I was amazing to watch.
I just couldn't stop smiling if I'm being really honest. We were just hurting them in so many different areas. The pace among everybody. There was so much pace. And it obviously Eddie Howe spoke about it before the game, like literally just before, saying that, you know, we understand how, you know, the threat that them carry, but we have to impose ourselves. And so many managers have that plan against them. Everyone always says, you know, we know they're good, but we need to impose ourselves. But it's easier said than done sometimes.
Well, a lot of managers. I mean, our previous 2 managers in the Premier League, names I'm not going to mention, one of whom I love.
Yeah.
Neither of them set up to attack Man City like that. Both of them, I think, back the first game, I think we drew 1-1, where we defended under the 2-1 win. We defended. And then the second one we drew 1-1, where it was the same kind of thing. So it's the first time in the Premier League, certainly at home, that we've gone right. We're going to not go toe-to-toe because that's not how it works, Man City. But like say, right, we're going to try and cause you problems here. You're not just going to try and fight your way through. We're going to try and pick at you as well.
And I think they were stunned. It's certain part they were stunned. Yeah, they just. You know, as well, I would say the fans as well being at home obviously helped, because there's so many times I think when I've been to the game where you think you sometimes need the players to do something to do you know what I mean, to get you into the game, and they were doing that, and then the fans were obviously right up there as well. And I just love, obviously, you know, we're going to go on to Maxi of course, but like I thought Miggy was really, really, really good as well. Like I thought Joe Linton was just
as good.
My God Almighty, my God.
I remember late last season talking about Joe Linton, how I thought he was maybe a stopgap and that would need to replace him in the summer. And then late last year, I was like, oh no, actually, he is this good. This is what he's like. Over the summer, I kind of reverted a bit. I regressed. I went back to Joe Linton's all right for now. But before too long, we're going to have to, like, if someone else comes in, that's Joe Linton out.
Yeah.
He's brilliant.
He's unreal.
Really, really good.
He's unbelievable. Like,
he's rash, mind.
Well, this is, and I said this in pre-season, that does worry us. That he's...
The yellow card he got was totally necessary.
Like, he's one of these where, see, there's a bit of foul or he feels aggrieved just a little bit further down the pitch. He will absolutely march back and flatten someone.
Takes you a bit.
And you just got to be careful, I think, with that, to be honest. But he's work ethic. There was a one in the first half. It was there was a ball played back to Walker, where it was nothing. You know, it was just going, and he charged up, and Walker kicked out for a corner, and like it just typifies him, doesn't it? Like he's unbelievable. The amount of duels and battles that he wins. Yeah. Just every time he runs towards a player to go and get the ball, I have every confidence he's going to win that, and he just wins it every time. Like it's unbelievable.
He might be. No, I've just thought. He's the most important player I have at the minute.
I think when you look at Bruno, gets all of the plaudits, doesn't he? But
I'm not saying
you'd arguably say that he hasn't had the greatest of games in the last, particularly last week. He even said himself that he didn't play particularly well. He had a very shaky start with the booking that he picked up, and I thought he was going to be treading a bit of
a
very line
stupid challenge as well
all game. So, but you know that you're looking at the games and Joe's even outshining him.
Do you think? I feel like what I'm going to say, I might take it away from Joe Linton. I'm not meaning to do that, but I always think, and I'm going to mention this with Maxi as well. I think with Bruno, Maxi, I still think sometimes it is hard for them sometimes to expect that level of performance of like, right, I want you to get the ball, be 2 or 3 people and set a goal up.
Yeah.
Bruno's the same. I want you to command the midfield. I want you to pass the ball really well. I want you to beat men. I feel like that side of the game is harder to do on a consistent basis than working really, really hard, tackling somebody, winning your aerial battles. I personally think that's an easier thing to do. And that's how I think Joe Linton, and again, I'm not taking it away from him. I didn't think he could do this, by the way. I didn't think he had that in him. But his energy is obviously always going to be there, hopefully, with injury. He's so brave. Like, he will challenge anyone. He'll try for any header. So brave he is. Obviously strong, physically strong. I just think that's easier for him to do. Then lay the ball off and go, right, you take everyone.
I think it lends itself very well to his kind of physical attributes.
100%.
And there's that saying that it's easier to destroy than to create as well, which is kind of, I think, fits with Joe Linton because going forward, we know he's much maligned.
Yes.
Centre forward, £40 million number 9 who couldn't score this, that, and the other. But he's totally like, it's just, I still, even now, watch him thinking this is just 9 months down the line, whatever it is, since the Norwich game when he went in the centre mid, thinking this is unbelievable how good he is.
In the consistency, isn't it? That's what, like.
Oh yeah, he's been brilliant.
It's just unbelievable. I always go back to this moment as well. The moment when we played Man United at home last season live. We had been banging the drum. We knew how good he was, but outside, no one really seen him.
Yeah.
And then that game against Man United, he got man of the match. The commentator was like, I didn't realise he was this good. Literally from then, he's just carried it all the way.
He's been one of the top 3-4 players in the team every game since.
Every game, yeah.
He's,
every
like you say, the consistency is remarkable.
It is remarkable, like it really is. And
he loves it as well. You can see how much he gets off it. The stuff he gets with, like, is it Dylan Brett, the young lad with the Joe Linton shirt?
Amazing.
They have the back and forth. They had the kid there last week with the tattoo, and he says, "I come round and bring the brains. We'll play football in the garden." And that he thrives off it. And this is a bloke who had to turn comments off his Instagram because he was getting that much abuse a couple of years ago. Like, it's
testament to him, isn't it? To be able to turn it around and carry on. You know, it's amazing.
And they've got flags now, and you've got Brazilian football Twitter accounts. That's a really badly worded. Brazilian football Twitter accounts. That's exactly what I said again. But who are like aren't Newcastle kind of focused, saying like, I love seeing all the Brazil flags in St James. It's like, I will kind of, and if we get Joao Pedro, which we'll come into later on.
Yeah.
Well, spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well,
little preview for you.
Well, I suppose that'd be another Brazilian fella that we'll be talking about in certain terms.
So let's get on to it then.
My mate. Oh, the first goal.
The first goal. Let's start early, are we? Let's not peak too soon.
Unusual goal.
Yeah, it was. In fairness, I will just say one thing before the goal. Within, it felt to me anyway, minutes beforehand.
Yeah.
You know, I'm actually belted down the left, cross. Almiron should have scored. I mean, he definitely hit the target. At least hit the target. At least made the keeper work. Blazed it over. And then it felt to me minutes later again. I thought he did unbelievably. And this is what I'm going to say about Eddie Howe as well, is the old St. Maximum to me, right, would have done exactly the same. He would have won the ball. He turned amazingly well. I think it was Rodri. He just turned, and Rodri's amazing. Just turned him inside out. I think Maxi would have constantly tried to work it round and round to have a shot. His first instinct was, I'm just going to whip this in. And I think it's what everyone has been crying out for. I mean, I'm not expecting Miggy to be on the end of it, but he was. And I just thought that, you know, again, though, people inside the box, how many times have we freeze frame games, man, in the past where, you know, you're saying cross the ball, but you might have one in the box. I'm sure I paused it when I watched it again, and there was like 3-4 bodies
Wilson's
in the box.
there,
You know, Wilson's
Willock
in there,
as well,
Willock.
Miggy's actually the first one in.
Yeah.
And he just holds his position. He waited, the line defenders go past him. Wilson, I think maybe it's Wilson Willock go past him as well. And Miggy just stands. They're 10 yards out. It must be something they've worked on. And he's gone, right, I'll get here. Joe Willock did it really well when he first signed. He arrived early but hung back. So to get in the position to start with, Maximin did brilliantly. Which I'm going to just record myself saying and then play it to save my voice, because that's like probably 30 times in this game we could say that. The ball's really good, and he should do better. He should do better with it, but
he gets underneath it, doesn't he? And just
he kind of
plays it over.
Yeah.
There's definitely something going on there, because I'm noticing every single time. And listen, sometimes it's not working, and people are up in arms, but he's belting along the sideline, and he's always cutting it back. Always. It seems to be, I don't know, it's just maybe what he's being told to do, because he's expecting someone to be coming on the end. And that particular time it worked. Obviously, Almiron just couldn't finish it. But
I was going to say the Wilson goal against Forest, but that was Joe Linton. So, fuck off, bestie.
But it's something that you know we've talked about, and a lot of the players, when they're talking about have been saying the same of around his consistency, and if he can just pick that pass, and you know, I can lose count of the many times I've banged on about him doing it. So it's lovely to see the fact that it's happening. And I think it's that maturity that we're now seeing in his performance, which that we've talked about a couple of times, and that's what you want to see as he starts developing his game, getting that little bit older. He's that little bit of football intelligence.
Quite late on last season when the Gallowgate War Flags had the St Maximin display. I forget which game it was now. Where maybe it was Leicester. I can't remember. But
And that was kind of where he was in a poor run of form. Yeah,
and you could see how he kind of responded to that. There was a couple of games beforehand where the crowd would sing his name and he was like, cheers. Like, you can see how much he gets off that. And that going to the actually beyond the end of the game now, the interview with Trippier, where Trippier's kind of saying, I'm glad he's my teammate and all that. And he's kind of in the tunnel. The interviewer says, I could hear you in the tunnel with your arm around him saying, like, you're doing really, really. I think St Maximin responds so well to the arm around the shoulder, be it from the Gallowgate end or from Trippier or from Howe or Lascelles, whomever, or Wilson. I think he when he gets that, it's like, right, I'm loved, I'm wanted here, I'm appreciated. And but he has changed as well. Towards the end of last season, you could see he was starting to, what Decker said, instead of holding on to the ball and looking for something for himself, maybe. He's playing the ball through a bit better. He does it really well for Wilson's goal. He plays the ball. It's a lovely weighted ball and it's a good touch. But I mean, which will come on in a second. But he's maturing. It feels like
he's definitely he's been coached better as well. Like there's no doubt about it. How I can imagine him training 100 times a day, is blowing his whistle, going, stop. You should be passing it there. I can, I may be wrong, but I can imagine they'll be looking at footage saying if you had to do this, if you had to do that. And I said it towards the end of last season that I'm at the Arsenal game at home. I remember so many times. He was passing the ball early, and loads of times I mentioned it to my dad going, he's passing it there. We would never have passed that before. He would have held on of it and held on, and then of course people get frustrated, and I understand that. I think I can't recall at the top of my head seeing a player rip Man City apart like that. Like for about half an hour, it was constant. I mean, absolutely. I've never seen Walker be done like that ever. Because I think Walker's solid, fast.
Walker couldn't live with him.
He couldn't live with him.
He terrorised him for the entire game, and not just him. Joe Linton was terrorising him. Willock. There's obviously a piece of him going past and doing him for pace, which you don't often see from Walker as a player going past you that
I'm not
that
sure
easily.
If he had some kind of injury or something, because I must admit he didn't look as quick as he normally would. But I must say Joe Linton playing on the left hand side of the three in midfield really does help Saint a lot, because if there's times he can't get back, Joe just fills in on that side and it works so well.
He's just fit. He'll run all day. Joe Linton as well,
day.
Like he will.
There was a few times where Maxi had the ball and it would be Joe Linton making the run beyond him as well, and I think them two are so important on that side of the field. Like it's unbelievable. But I think Chris said this ages ago about it was towards when there was a lot of criticism of St Maximin. Some of it was deserved, and I know I defend him all the time, but I think if we're going to be successful, right, which I of course hope we're going to be, St Maximin will be a huge part in that. If we have been successful, I think it'll be a lot to do with performances like that. Because listen, you can put Murphy on there, you can put Fraser on there. There's not many players in the world can produce that. Of course, we all want it more, no more than I do, and no more than probably Saint does as well. But that's what he can do, and he's absolutely ripped apart the best team in the world, I think. One of the best teams in Europe.
And I think it's you now look around that whole team, and basically, like you just said before, you're hard pressed to find somebody that didn't have a good game. They really applied themselves to it and really wanted it. And the main thing that we kind of had that was causing the City so much problems was that pace and the volume of players that we were flooding forward with. And like you say, on the couple of chances that Miggy had, having all of those players in and around the box. Coming on to that second goal, as you've just mentioned, Wilson's, the way that we broke away for that, and then the clever little finish, it's just...
That is a beautiful goal. I honestly, I know we'll get on to Trippier's, and I know I've at least watched that 45 times today, at least. But that Wilson goal is... And again, I mean, Joe Linton, to be fair to him, he's the one that wins the flick on for Maxi. And I don't know if you've seen the replay. Someone actually commented, I think it was Gareth commented on it, and that's when I went back and watched it. If you watch the second replay after it went in, when Joe Linton wins the header, Maxi obviously turns in. Pep just falls to the floor. If you watch it again, Pep looks and he goes, and he just collapses collapses the floor, but he literally goes on to his honkers because he knows, don't let him turn and run at you like that, because they were just backing off. But the touch and the finish was just like, I mean, that's just That's as good as it gets, in my opinion. Like.
We made them look very ordinary
Could do them
at
like
times.
that.
No, it's
That was unbelievable.
watching that first half. I can't think of many times we've played as well as that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just different class. Watching that team, like I even said, like if you beam somebody down to watch that I'm saying beam it down because I'm looking at that alien up there, and put them in front of the telly and say one of these teams are the current champions of England.
Yeah.
I don't think they're picking the team in blue, are they?
No, honestly, no. It was. It just felt like it was just attack after attack after attack. You know, and there's even that stat I've seen obviously posted everywhere, which is hilarious. Of 95% possession that we had for that 5-minute spell. It was just unbelievable. Every single player. And in fairness, there was moments where Bruno wasn't doing much, but then he would win the ball back and hold on to it for a few seconds, win a free kick, draw a free kick. There was certain things that happened in the game. I thought we got lucky in one moment, and I think I put this in the chat about Botman, where they broke down the left hand side and crossed it. I think, and he didn't know what to do. I don't think, and it just bounced off his side, which I thought was handball at the time, and then it landed to I think maybe in Silva, could be wrong there, and he blocked it really well on the second attempt. He did excellent there, but there was the initial moment. Yeah. Time stood still for me when the ball just bounced and fell straight to him. I was like, oh, it's in, like he's going to score, but he didn't. But no, I thought the first half was as good as it can possibly get, to be honest. I think.
Yeah, against
to come back as well, you know, from a very poor 10 minutes, you're 1-0 down. The old Newcastle were just folded then. Would have been 2, 3, 4, 5. Would have folded. So that was incredible.
You mentioned the booking. I think that brings us on nicely into another topic that was hotly chatted about at half time and throughout the game. The officials' performances. I'm struggling to find a time where I've seen a referee that's so quick to get his card out and give decisions to one team versus the other.
Yeah, I mean, saying that, the Bruno one was the yellow card early on.
Aye, yeah.
Oh, Joe Linton could have got booked when he gave the free kick away right on half time. Seen players get booked for that before, where it was Silva that he takes out. I don't think it was necessarily, but that's the kind of, if the referee was as, you'd have booked him for that. The Trippier thing we'll come on to later on, so I'm not going to mention that just yet. Yeah, he wasn't. I'm not saying the referee was good, but he was kind of shy actually. What do you think?
I thought he was diabolical. Nearly every single little player fell down, the free kick would go to them. Yeah. And an equal thing would happen to us, but he wouldn't get it. He really seemed to me that he was on their side. Like it felt like
the bit when De Bruyne pulled down Bruno as well, and it was nothing happened.
Nothing.
Aye.
It was mad. Like it was constant as well.
Well, that was going to be the other one. Obviously, he comes.
That's a pen.
He clatters and comes straight through the box. At the time, I'm thinking, is it outside the box? Mm-hmm. Is he, or is he not sure? Is VAR going to, So that's clear as day, isn't it?
No, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure to start with because I think, well, Stones looks like he's got his eye on the ball. He's jumped for the header. But if that's on halfway line, it's a free kick. Mm-hmm. So that's a penalty. And
that's I hate them ones where it's anywhere outside the box, that's a foul.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's no difference of fouls here. A foul is a foul. So if it's inside the box or not, and that is a foul. There's just no. He went straight to the bottom, hits him in the head. I was stunned. And when I had then found out later it actually had went to VAR and they said there was nothing in it, I was stunned. Like, but I did think he was poor, to be fair. Like,
I think if the referee gives a penalty there, the VAR don't turn it over.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
And it's, I don't know. Obviously, VAR helped us out with the first goal when it was a tight offside decision. Yeah. We got that one.
But the linesman had his flag up, within seconds.
Yeah.
Immediately. So that's where VAR. That's why it's brought in the game, isn't it? That's why it's there for decisions like that. Because obviously, we'll go back to the goals. Toyota scored against City and it got to sell out all them things. That was it benefited in that instance, but we're 100% deserve to be going in at half time ahead. Without any doubt. I didn't want half time to come, if I'm honest, because we were just absolutely battering them. They had no answer for it, and I thought that if we just had maybe in 5-10 minutes, we might even get another one before half time. Against the best team. I just can't believe even seeing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just ridiculous.
So half time did come. Were you expecting Pep to give them a good going over at half time and them to come out all guns blazing?
I think you always expect that against a team like them. They've got that quality. and he's that good a coach and a tactician that you think, well, yeah, that's going to be the second half's going to be harder, and they're going to hit where we're going to. It's almost like starting the game again. Don't concede early. Just try and settle things down, get the ball, and play if you can. But it just didn't happen like that. Well, it did, but not until about 20 minutes in the second half.
Yeah, I think we almost just carried on where we left off, and that's always my bit of worry is that can we put two halves together with that same kind of performance? Because we quite often see where we'll play a very good one half, maybe having a really good first half, and then we'll drop off a little bit second half. But we didn't see that at the beginning of the second half.
Totally agree. It's been a problem for us for years, that hasn't it? Where we've seen a really good first half and they've come out and we always joke and go, what on earth has he said to them at half time? It's always been that thing. But no, I totally agree. I thought we were excellent. I was worried because I thought Pep would get a hold of them, and he would have been, I can only imagine, he would have been gone ballistic. But then obviously, Maxi does kind of what he always does. He come running inside at real pace. I just want to, before we talk about the free kick, what I found amazing about his performance wasn't just obviously the releasing of the ball, and that was excellent, and the skill, all the rest of it, but he's sprinting and able to run at that intensity all the time. It was the 70th minute, 80th minute. Now I don't believe under previous management he could have done that. I think after an hour he was done. In the first 20 minutes, half an hour, I'll give you everything I've got. Then I'm struggling.
How many times do you see it where 65 minutes in starts limping a bit?
Yeah, there was none of that yesterday that I noticed anyway.
He's a bit of a big game player, isn't he?
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, you go back to I remember the Everton game was a huge one and he was unplayable in that game. I thought Arsenal at home he was tremendous as well, actually. And then, as you mentioned, obviously yesterday. So I think sometimes, let's be fair, right? A player like him on that stage. That's why he plays the game, right? And I want him to play like every game. If he's starting against Tranmere, I want the same performance. Everyone does. Yeah. But I totally understand that. Probably the night before, even though some people criticise him being the Miracle Centre, the night before he would have been thinking about that game, thinking, this is my stage, right? And that's absolutely what he should be thinking. So sorry, I digress a bit. Yes, he got the ball on the left-hand side, done everybody, got tackled, and then obviously we'll know what happened after that. I'll let you take this one, Mark, if you want.
How confident, on a scale of 1 to 10, when you saw the position of that free kick and Kieran Trippier standing over it, that was going in the top corner?
About 3.
3?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm never very confident with Trippier. And that's not meant to be a reflection on Trippier. Trippier's amazing. He strikes a wonderful dead ball.
Yep.
He's taken 4 free kicks for us and scored 3 of them, I think was the stat I saw yesterday. But yeah, the free kick's not a high percentage.
I was about a 6, I was about a 6, but not in a billion years did I think he was going that corner.
No,
not in a million years.
You've got to criticise Edison as well,
I think
if you've got the wall, if you set the wall, it doesn't go over the wall; it goes past it. If you see it, it actually goes to the right of the wall as he's looking. So that's his corner. That.
We're not. I know. Yeah,
but if he's where he should be, if your wall set up properly, it shouldn't go in.
But
it's a wonderful hit. Sorry, Dad, I keep cutting across here. It's a wonderful hit. It is. It's an incredible free kick. And I'm not saying Edison should save it. The fact that he doesn't isn't because it's because his position's not very good.
So I mentioned this at the time to Chris and Adam, but I thought Dan Burn positioned himself very cleverly. He just popped himself right at the end of the wall in that eye line so that it would obviously blocking that corner. So I'm just thinking, has that just made Edison not quite get his angles right of the wall? Because like you've just said, Decker, it goes past. And I mean, he just took it right into the side net in there.
I'm taking nothing away from Trippier here. It's a wonderful hit. If we concede that, I'm disappointed with the goalkeeper.
For me personally, I thought it was a simple fact of the keeper was expected to go over the wall, and he took a step. And when he took that step, the thing with the shot was the free kicks. It was whipped. It was so much pace on it that the second he took that step, he was done.
It goes in right behind the post as well. Yeah, like a shoulder penalty. It would be right.
That's right.
It's not in the corner. It's behind the goalpost.
Yes.
And even with a step, Edison's not. Without that step, he's not getting there.
It probably
because
not.
The step, he moves his weight a little bit, but it's that well struck.
Yeah.
He should be further over that side though.
It was
but there again,
it was unbelievable.
When he scored against Everton, he went the other way. He went where Gallagher obviously, but put it in it was the bottom right as he looks at it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So he's expecting. I've seen him do that before.
Well, that's what I honestly thought. Even when he lined up for it, I thought, okay, over the wall, like the same as the Everton goal, right? That's what I was honestly thinking. To whip it into the other corner, it was an absolutely incredible
It's a
free kick.
glorious
Like.
hit, like,
It
it is.
really, really was.
It was scandalous, wasn't it?
It was ridiculous.
It's just
It
like
was. It was
It's
like
such a clean.
for me, it was like territory of like Beckham Greece in terms of like, you know, like of a moment in the game. Obviously, of course, you know, loads of it didn't matter, but to us, you know what I mean. It was just unbelievable at the Gallowgate end as well. I mean, I've seen Kabay score against Man United, a screamer at the same end as the free kick.
Crossbar.
Yeah, that was right up there as far as I'm concerned in terms of a strike.
Absolutely, yeah.
Really was,
It's the best free kick you scored, probably.
Oh yeah.
I would say better than the Everton one, better than
Yeah,
the
it
Villa
was.
one.
Yeah,
It is.
definitely. Oh, without question. It'd be hard to beat that one again if I'm being honest with you. Like.
he'll get another one in a couple of weeks, man. He'll do the same. But
That's a wonderful.
He's going to be like Ward Prowse, isn't he? Where just like we're just going to expect it every time he steps up. But yeah, that was to be you know, again, to be 3-1 up. Like it was. Well, to be honest, I thought we were going to do it. Like if I'm being when that went in, I thought we're just the momentum, and I just thought we're going to do it. I don't want to turn this into a downer, but
I think I did as well. Like it was even 2 goals against them, and I keep on saying about the actually kind of thing being so deep set that something's going to go wrong here. They're playing that well, and it just had the momentum, as you say, and it felt like this was 3 points.
there's a lovely foot. I think a few people put out on Twitter the picture, but when Trippier celebrates, he does literally the same celebration as Everton, the same thing. Every single player, isn't it, is over that side. Is everyone, the fans just look amazing. It's just amazing. It's an amazing moment.
I'll tell you who's not mentioned yet. Who I really want to mention, Nick Pope.
Oh yeah.
Because his contributions they were right throughout the game. He was absolutely brilliant. That's as good as I've seen a keeper play all round in years in Newcastle in a long time.
Because there was, I totally agree. Because there was moments where it wasn't a shot stopping, it wasn't saving. It was, you know, meeting balls coming out. It was gathering balls. It was there was a few he saved with his feet. You know what I mean? Which you have to do sometimes, you know. But I was really happy loved him coming out. There was a few. There was one that they played a ball through in the second half, and I thought he was just going to go around him, but he came out and gathered the ball so well.
It was the one that save on the post.
Yes,
What a
2-1 save that was.
That's a fantastic save.
What a save.
Because on the deck, that's not like a nice 3-4. That's on the floor there.
Aye, what a save.
To get down to save. The one where Dan Burn hits the back pass. Matty mentioned it in our group earlier. He read that as soon as it's, and it's so hard. I mean, I was a goalkeeper, but I played. It was so hard when you see that and think, right, how quickly is that going? How quickly is he going? How quick can I go? And he judges it absolutely perfectly. That saves a goal. Yeah. I've not really seen it outside of our WhatsApp group mentioned it. It's a brilliant piece of goalkeeping.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
but he was so quick on his toes. There was one towards the end where he smothers. There was a save from Haaland. There was when he smothers. I think maybe Silva who goes through.
That's the one for me as well.
And it's just
fantastic.
He's been for £10 million, whatever it was. He's a snip.
Oh, it's well, even Pep referenced him at the end, didn't he? Saying England's got a quality goalkeeper. Yeah, like, it was amazing.
And I like Dubravka a lot as well. And he's so far. It's 3 games, but so far he's like you kind of drop him.
Must be awful for Dubravka sitting on the bench, like seeing that type of performance.
Well, Scott, yours set the cat amongst the pigeons in the comments here. Would Dubravka have made the saves that Pope did? It's always the thing that comes around, isn't it?
Corner, it's hard to see many. I think I said last week. I think Darlow's a better stopper than Dubravka. I think Dubravka's a better goalkeeper, comfortably, but Darlow's a wonderful stopper. I'm not sure he keeps that one out.
I don't think so. Like, no, that was a hell of a save. That one. To be fair, that one actually skipped my mind. That was incredible. That save. I think more moments personally for me. I'm not saying that he's bad at this area, but the one you mentioned there with the short back pass, I'm not so sure Dubravka would have read that one. I
don't think he would.
I think it's moments like that personally where I think that's what lets him down. I know he has the odd mistake, but I think that moment there he wouldn't have. I think when Silva went round, I'm not sure he would have been out quick enough. Yeah. I feel he would have went round him. I could be totally wrong, of course. I'm so hypothetical, but
I think we'll more than likely see how Dubravka reacts on Wednesday night, because I think he'll probably start that against Tranmere in the cup.
Would expect so if he's fit. Then you'd imagine he's going to start.
And as we've said before, I mean, we're still quite blessed really to have that as a 1 and 2. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. To have a keeper as good as Darlow's third choice.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And for all me and him have had our fallings out over the years, like he's better than a third choice Premier League goalkeeper.
Yeah,
for me.
Yes, I would agree. Yeah.
Like Norwich had Tim Cullen goal last year, and I love Cullen at Newcastle for the most part. He's a better keeper than Krull, I think. Now Krull can't stop a shot for a toffee like that.
I didn't.
He was brilliant as well to start with. Krull,
at the same age, or are you saying now?
Oh, now.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah,
are they about the same age? Aren't they? Kroll's not much older than Darlow.
Oh, I think he's
Not more than 2 or
got
3
a few years,
isn't
or maybe four years.
it? Old
so.
Kroll, he must be early 30s, isn't he?
He'd be a bit older than that now,
No,
isn't
he
he?
made his debut in 2006. He was 18,
Yeah.
so I made 33. In the comments, why not let me know
Somebody
the age difference exactly that is between
So
Tim Krull and...
Obviously, I asked Bestie there about he was confident. Yeah, the momentum was with her. Did you think that, or were you the other side of the fence thinking shit? I mean, it's 3-1, but these are that good that can come back into it. Or did you think that had done?
It was always
100% thought we're in for it now. Like
To win or in for it?
no, like
Oh,
as
right.
in them. We're gonna.
They're gonna really-
What I did expect to happen though was them just to bring £70,000 million worth of talent off the bench and really take the game to win. They didn't really do that. They just kind of adjusted to how we'd played and used what they had there. Because that was me, especially when they did get one back, and I thought, oh,
Yeah,
this is where they're going to turn the screw.
And when you look at the respective quality of the players that both sides brought off the bench, and I mean this with no disrespect whatsoever to the lads we brought on, but when our first 11 have done what they've done in the first hour or so, I remember when the first change was made, and then we've got Chris Wood, Jacob Murphy came on, and you think this is a difference. Matt Ritchie came on towards the end. I was going to, but
He was going to, he couldn't. Yeah.
Emil Kraft came on, and you think that's the difference because look at who they've got in the bench. Grealish didn't get in the squad.
Yeah.
You think that's how good they are. That's what they can do. And it's one of the reasons I don't care for the 5 sub thing, because I think that really seriously favours the kind of the stockpiling. Not stockpiling is maybe not the right way to put it, but the kind of the clubs who've got that strength and depth
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
can just kind of go, well, we've got 16 blokes who can play today.
Yeah.
It's like a team and a half,
Yeah.
very nearly.
It's scandalous that them can have a player for £100 million and not make the squad. Like
if he's fit,
if he's
I don't
fit,
know
aye.
But yeah,
Unless he was
it's kind
scared of Miggy.
Look at the quality they had in the bench when we brought. And again, I like Wood, and I don't mind Murphy's. Much kind of we've talked for hours and hours on here about Chris Murphy, Jacob Murphy, and kind of can he finish or can he not, and this and that and that. And you look at him coming, I think, no, that's.
There's a huge
That-
difference.
That's where we're massively
Yeah.
behind
Yeah, 100%.
the
Well, wasn't it? I had
majority
heard
of the top 6, isn't it?
they couldn't use Fraser because he got a bit tight on the warm up or something like that.
Well, Wilson as well. Wilson had he
Yeah,
felt his hamstring. I think,
yeah.
was
So
it?
that's well, listen, you just a second he says anything like that, he's off. You know,
Oh, yeah,
no
totally,
matter
aye.
what the scenario is in the
Can't
game,
roll.
just got to get him off. And these are the moments, unfortunately, we're going to have. Aren't we? We're going to be stuck with them moments in games or weeks where he's not
Well,
feeling it. Hopefully, they'll get someone in, which we'll come on to. If
Yeah.
he's feeling that way, okay, right, you'll not start this week then because you're feeling that. You'd rather miss one game than 10.
Absolutely, and that's where we are. It's kind of the walking before you can run
Yeah.
thing, where we're still only 10 months into takeover. We've had not a total overhaul of the first team, but 5, 6 was it new first teamers have come in since
And-
the January window, and like you think, well, that's kind of. I'd like more. We could sign another 4 or 5 players. I think, well, would be nice if we had this one a bit better. So that's always going to be the case. We've got this Joao Pedro apparently coming in this week, if reports are to be believed. That people say another one on loan, possibly as well. Who that is, but don't know. Paquette, as we mentioned again, Madison. But like, I'm not saying we can't be greedy because they've got this money, they've got all to do with it and all that. But like, we are now a far better team, a far better side, even with the players that we've still got. If after the takeover, when I got Eddie Howe in, if you'd said this is what you'd start next season, you'd win 2-0 first game, draw away at Brighton 0-0, draw 3-3 at Man City, having ripped them to bits for 45, 50 minutes in the middle of the game. I think, fuck now, what's happening? That's what I want.
Yeah,
so I'm quite
This is for me how Eddie Howe's job that he has done is not getting spoken enough about outside of us because he hasn't spent the world. To be fair, we haven't really bought anyone. I mean, all right, fair. I'm going to give you your Brunos, and of course I am, right? But let's be fair, right? The difference from what we are now, from where we came from. You're thinking you've signed Chris Wood, you've had Matt Targett from Villa, you've signed Dan Burn from Brighton,
Nick Pope.
You've Nick Pope, a relegated side, right?
Yeah.
And that is how the job is for me. What he's done to be going in there at half time or halfway through the second half, and you're 3-1 up against Man City. The change in what he has done is phenomenal. Like, it's unbelievable.
And it goes back to what Andy was saying last week as well about how he was kind of effectively director of football. for a spell as well during the January window where he's going like he's doing the diligence to say, right, here's what we want, this kind of player, we need that kind of character, we need this, and sending Merdad off to the AMX and to wherever else, and Turf Moor, for to pick these boys up. So yeah, it's Eddie Howe's done it's kind of, it feels like we are preaching to the converted, well, like not even converted, but it really bears repeating that he, even away from the money that's been spent, he's turned the atmosphere around the club as being he's not totally responsible for what's changed there, but he is a big part of it. He's a massive part of it. The way the team plays football is directly influenced by him.
100%,
When we have not even a joke really, on a Friday when the press conferences come out, Darryl puts it in the WhatsApp and it's like, right, I'm going to watch this.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the kettle on. I'm going to get a bit of banana. I'm going to sit and listen to what he's got to say, because he's intelligent, he's articulate, and you want to hear what he's got to say, because he's kind of, I'm proud he's representing it.
100%.
You know, you get some managers that slip into cliche and stuff, and he'll do it sometimes. But I'm really proud when I watch Eddie Howe get interviewed, or when I see him during the game, I think he's ours.
Night and day compared to the last fella.
Totally. Totally. Yeah, I mean,
every single player looks sharper, fitter, happier, more confident. Everything in it.
It's a maximum. That's the kind of point you were making earlier.
Yes, it was.
He's lasting full games now.
Full games.
It was an hour and going like now.
There's no way he could. And I think it's, you know, I always, you know, Joe Linton as well. His energy. Almiron's always had that energy, but you know, Maxi's doing these sprints from 80 minutes in and trying to still the same intensity and speed as what it was in the minute one. I find that quite fascinating from any player that can do that, and we couldn't do that last year. We were absolutely out on our feet most games, and you know, I find that's not the case.
There was one moment where Saint was on the left hand side of the pitch, and he ran across to the other side of the pitch, chasing the ball and the player.
Oh yes,
to come back, and I've never seen him even think about doing that.
He works,
let alone doing it.
For all people talk about how he's not the most defensively minded, and I think that's fair to say. He chases a lot, and that was an example of that.
He didn't off, but he said down and run that time. I remember, he was absolutely sprinting.
He's another one where again
he was fucked when the ball came to him 30 seconds later. Though,
an interview with Trippier at the end where he's like, "I'm glad he's my teammate." And I think that's the team spirit that you want to see.
Kyle Walker was at the end of the match thinking, "I wish he was my bloody teammate instead of facing him." That's probably why he was saying, "I'm glad he's my teammate," because he wouldn't fancy playing up against him, especially when he's on form like that.
You could see also Trippier loads of times in the game, where we're a little bit under the caution, say the ball went out for a throw-in or whatever, or then missed a really good opportunity. Trippier was the first one to turn around and go, right, calm down, lads, you come here, just relax, and he was like telling them things, and you could see, obviously, I thought it was actually really, really a little bit of insight, as you mentioned there with that interviewer. They very rarely say that, but he says, while I was waiting for you to walk towards us for these questions, I seen you grab him, and like you were saying, what were you saying to him when he's here? And that's just one instinct of what's probably going on behind the scenes constantly, all the time, which is fantastic.
I remember that's Trippier. That's kind of been a hallmark of what he's done since I remember the Watford game. Was it Watford in the cup where we got knocked out last season? No, it wasn't.
It wasn't Watford. It was
Oxford.
Oxford, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was Oxford, and I remember in the warm up beforehand, that was his debut, one of Trippier's first.
It was.
I remember in the warm up, and this is before his first game for me. He's telling people he's like jaying people up and stuff like, hang on, this is the new boy.
Proper captain.
This isn't someone who's kind of trying to bed in a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Captain. And it was always expected that this season the Cells was going to kind of fall away from the first team a bit, just because of who's there now and all that. In that trip, it was unanimous. No one was saying that I recall. A few people maybe said Wilson, but everyone was going, "Oh yeah, Trippier's like the captain." That's just kind of how you can see how he is on the pitch. Obviously, that helps the fact he's world class as well. But just how he is. How he was with St Maximin there, how he was in that warm up that I watched against Oxford. Everything you watch him on the pitch, like you said, he's constantly like he's a captain.
100%,
he's totally what you expect a captain should be.
Mentality's just different class, isn't it, from him?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah,
winner.
Maxi said
let's hope that can come to fruition at the club.
Well, if it does, I mean, was he 31, 32? So if he's a winner in Newcastle, then it means that we're winning something the next 3 or 4 years.
Very soon, Maxi mentioned that in his press and that interview, where he's saying like, I love playing with him. Like what he's achieved in the game. He's a great player. He's representing his country. Like he's one thing. Like he's basically saying like, I know how good you are. And I did love the little remark when Trippier said, like, I love to have me stay. And who wouldn't? I mean, Christ. When he's on form like that, of course, it's a joy to watch. Like, but yeah, no, it was. But then before we get on to the goals, the negative side, I'll be honest, 2 of the goals I was really disappointed in, if I'm being honest. The first one especially, as we've discussed. And I'm so thinking about our goals. Which was the second one?
The second one was Haaland, wasn't it?
When he just swings the foot at it and
It's just
enough.
isn't it?
Connects with it though, doesn't he? That's
not
flying.
He did. I just felt we just didn't switch on quick enough at stopping that cross from coming in. And for all I actually thought you overhit the cross. I was like, oh, that's all right. I thought it was going really deep in the knockdown. And I think when it gets into that area, I'm not really haven't got a problem when it gets into that area because he's literally on the line. Like it could go anywhere at that moment. It's how it got there is always my problem, and I just felt we could have dealt with it better at that point. But he doesn't have smashed it in. Like
that second ball just drops from it. He is kind of unmarked, but it's he's that good. He finds the space in the box and anticipates where it's going to drop.
I kind of feel. And I could be totally wrong, actually, but I kind of feel we conceded 2 goals against Man City that are not goals I would expect to concede against them. Certainly that second one. It was more like it's just an absolute scramble and a scrap. You know what I mean? I would expect it to get ripped apart. Too. But one I did want to come back to, which I think I didn't mention, Haaland's clean through.
Yeah,
he's done Botman. Botman can't. He's absolutely just been shoved to the ground almost, and he's away. And Pope there was outstanding again because it was almost identical to Haaland's goal he scored against West Ham. It was the same. It was identical, and I thought, it's in. I did think it was in, but again, that was a huge save. And I think that I'm not quite sure. Was that a 3-1 maybe? That would have made it 3-2. That might have been 3-3. Yeah. I'm not sure what moment that was in the game, but again, just going back to Pope. Sorry, how good of a save that was as well.
It was. Yeah, it was. I tell you what I haven't mentioned yet, and it was. I think this happened at 3-2. So now would be a timely time to mention it. The Trippier yellow card.
Oh yeah, I'm really interested because we haven't spoke about this at all. So I'm interested to see what your thoughts are on that. Actually,
Mark, you go first.
At the time, watching it, 100% thought it's a booking, intentional foul. He's doing it to stop the player going through. Thought nothing more of it. Referee sticks that red card up, and I'm like, what on earth is happening here? Because it seemed like a nothing, just like a little one of those ones that you expect a defender to do, just take a booking to draw the foul and break the game up.
Well, Man City do all the time. It happens. That's a call on call.
And it's clever. It's you've got to do it.
Bruno did it.
In those positions.
On De Bruyne, obviously nowhere near as drastic as that one, but he did it right. It was the same. So Bestie. Well, sorry. Did you think? So you just thought it was a yellow card, right?
I thought he was getting booked and he fully deserved it.
Cool.
When that red card came out, I was very, very surprised. Obviously, I'm at the opposite end of the ground from it. You've probably got a bit more of an angle because you're around the bend from me.
Yeah, he was at a birthday party.
I didn't think I actually could spot you there, but that would explain it.
Yeah, no, I didn't make it yesterday, sadly.
So your thoughts, Best?
When I saw it, same as Mark, I thought he's just stopped him, nothing in it.
Yep.
Red card come out, I thought, oh, hello, I wasn't expecting that. I haven't seen it again, and now this is where I'm a little bit conflicted, is maybe not quite the right word, but it put us in mind a lot of the Allen red card for Everton last season.
I've seen that one compared to today.
Very similar, I thought. I think when Allen does his, I've seen people say his studs were up, his foot was a different way around slightly, but he didn't go in studs up. The scissor action that he kind of performs, I think it's more when he lands than anything else. If the Allen one's a red card, then I think Trippier's slightly lucky. Because I've seen someone, it was, I forget who it was now, say, oh, well, they say it's knee high, but it wasn't, because they show you from behind them, where Trippier's foot's like on his shin, but like the Bruyne's already halfway down, he gets him above the knee.
Yeah.
And I think if the Allen one's a red card, which I'm not convinced it was, if I'm honest, but if the Allen one is, then I think Trippier's a lucky lad. Because he goes in, his body's a good couple of feet off the floor. He's in the air, it's an out of control type of thing. Catches him pretty high in the leg. I don't think he goes through him. I don't think he kind of wipes him out, or there's no, De Bruyne was never in danger of kind of getting seriously injured.
Yeah.
But still, there's something in it, I think. If the Allen one was, it's maybe a bit inconsistent.
I think that's the key thing in it is he's not going in there to try and do him. He's just trying to stop him, which was his intention. I'm probably the same as you. I wasn't necessarily think that.
I wasn't expecting it to get overturned.
As soon as the VAR tells him to go to that screen.
Oh, that's what he knows.
Though I did turn to Chris and say, the way that this referee's been, he'll probably still just keep it as a red card,
Send someone
just
else off as well.
to spite with, or he'll be itching to do it again.
Yeah, no, I honestly thought when they said VAR check, I thought, well, I kind of see how they could overturn it. Fuck me, bestie.
3 times.
Well, 3 times a hat trick. But obviously, as soon as you see them going to the screen and stuff like that, I don't think I've ever seen one go to the screen and not overturn
Yeah.
that decision.
Well,
Like
I thought almost exactly what you said, to be fair. So when it first happened and he got sent off, I was fuming. I was like, nah, whoa, like that happens in the game all the time, blah, blah, blah. He's just trying to stop, the break and all the rest of it. Then there's one photograph that the freeze frame it on, and it's a red card, as far as I'm concerned. And what I was worried about is when the ref runs over and looks at VAR, it's the first picture they show him.
Yeah.
And Trippier, there's not a part of him on the ground. His left foot's off the ground, his right foot's on his knee. He's totally out of control.
Yeah, but it's the top of his foot that's in contact, isn't it?
Really
on the
matter.
front of his leg.
Oh, maybe, but his left
So he's
leg,
not coming through his leg.
but his left
Which
leg
is where
isn't
the
on the
danger
floor.
is, isn't it?
Where the danger is, you've got a man jumping at you, no feet on the floor, just coming straight at your knee.
It's speed as well. Like.
It's at speed. Now, I'm not saying it would have hurt him. All I'm saying is, you can't have 2 feet off the floor.
In order for him to connect in the way he does, his leg's almost in front of him, and then De Bruyne has gone into it rather than coming
I
through.
understand what you're saying there.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's not coming
yes.
from behind. He's kind of approached from like.
Or even, I mean, obviously he has come side on, but
Yeah.
he's arrived in front of the player rather than coming side on through the player.
Does that matter?
Because in that
When
way,
you hit him
it's
on- when you get him
it's
on the
not
thigh.
it's not a tackle where he's going through him. It's a trip.
Well, I get what you're saying, but from that freeze frame, that moment when I seen VAR, I thought he's off.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going to overturn this one. But
I think if his foot hadn't been in the way that it is, straight across, top of his foot, that's doing the contact, then he's got no complaints.
what I would say is, I always do this on anything, right? If a goal or anything, right, is if Rodri had done that on Maximum, I would have been fuming.
Yeah.
That got overturned.
Blue Ribbon Boys saying the same in the comment there, that if it was Walker on Bruno, for instance, he'd have wanted a red card for
100%.
it. But
It's high.
high, like,
It's high. He's like I say, the closest part of him to the ground's a good foot in the air. But it's above De Bruyne's knee when he. It's not a. He doesn't, like I say, it doesn't wait him out. It's not like Cameroon against Argentina in 1990 when he's fucking full.
Jesus. Yeah. Well, that's why
you have to appreciate this one first.
Yeah. What was it?
It was a trip ear.
Oh.
Oh, when you said a trip earlier, I thought that's what you were going for. Like.
I thought, like as I say, I'm not interested, to be really honest. At that moment, I'm not interested in his right leg, the leg that's actually hit De Bruyne. It's the fact the left one is that far off the ground.
Yeah.
So in that freeze frame moment, he is just off the floor. And I thought, oh, that's it. Like they're never going to overturn
I'm
this.
sure
now.
that was an automatic a couple of years ago, or a few years ago.
And I think
maybe.
it will become that again. But having said that, of course, I'm obviously thrilled it wasn't. You know what I mean? Of course I am. It was fantastic.
I think he's maybe a bit lucky though.
But I thought he was very lucky. Yeah, I did.
Well, it got overturned anyway, thankfully.
Turned over.
Trippier came out and talked about it afterwards.
Well, he went straight over to De Bruyne, didn't he?
He did, yeah, and he was having a conversation with him, and that was an interesting thing for me, because Trippier didn't at the time seem that bothered by it, as if he tried to challenge. I think a couple of other players that were a lot further away from it rushed up to the referee and up to Trippier and stuff like that, and then that's where he was like, "Whoa, I haven't done anything or anything like that." So
Edison gets up and joins in. It's an hour and a half where it happens. Like so, he's
and I think that's where probably they're just seeing it from a distance.
Yeah.
He's off the ground. He's coming across, and maybe that's why the referees made that decision, because he's obviously not having the benefit of seeing how the tackles actually came about, and he's just thinking, as you're saying, he's off 2-footed off the ground.
I appreciate it.
That's why he's given the
stamping
red.
motion. I'm well aware of that.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, just the way that left leg was off, I just felt. I thought he probably could have walked but maybe. I mean, some people will probably say it wasn't. It was just a professional foul. Because I think I even seen Chris Tonga. He put on saying that wasn't knee high in reference to somebody else's comment. But the photograph he used, yes, Trippier was at his shin, but Trippier's left leg's on the floor by this point.
Oh yeah, I've seen the same one.
It's about the frame before that. He's actually fully off the ground. But yeah,
I'm very happy he wasn't sent off.
100%, yeah.
Would have been a big miss.
But I hope it would have been, because if he had been sent off, obviously straight red, he would have missed. Would have been 2 games.
Tranmere and what's next weekend?
He would have missed. So he would have missed a cup game, which
could have potentially been 3, couldn't it?
Is just League Cup games count towards Premier League bans?
Well, it just would have been a 3-game ban, wouldn't it?
Because it's straight red 3, isn't it? Aye.
So,
But yeah, so thankfully not. I was very, very surprised, though, I have to be honest. And as I said just before, I always go back to if that had been one of their players and one of ours, I would have said it was a red card.
Yeah,
but
same.
that's just me.
so they do get the 3rd goal back and equalise against us. Clever bit of play, I thought.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, at first I thought Botman could have done a bit better, but when you watch it,
Dan Burn.
no, Botman kind of.
Oh, it was Burn for me.
No, Botman comes out.
Yeah, he comes out. Follows
But
Haaland,
he's,
doesn't he? Yeah.
he's looking at Haaland. Haaland takes a step in, but Botman follows him, and that's Silva. Was it Silva who scored?
It was
In behind him.
that. I just feel there's probably not a player in the world that could have done that pass. We'll just happen to be playing against him on that because that pass, man. How way?
Aye.
And that's
just
what you
like-
expect from Man City. They've just got
It's just ridiculous.
pick a ball like that and a player that just appears and
Yeah.
Did he Meg Willock? He Meg Willock from 10 yards away, man. It was ridiculous how he did that pass. How he even seen the run, the weight of the pass. He put it through his. It was one of the best passes I've seen.
It was a
To be
great
honest,
pass,
it was
that was
unbelievable, and it was just shit. It was against us,
Right.
and such a moment in the game. Mind you, though, when we went to 3-3, I thought that's it. We're going to lose here.
that's what I was just going to say. One that they did get back to 3-3. Did
a
you
long
think
time
that
ago,
that's it?
Definitely. I thought we've lost this now.
Aye.
And again, I was very surprised that they didn't make some changes because they'd already brought Ake on in very early in the game, and I fully expected them to, once they got back into the game, and certainly when they got to 3-3, right, that's it. They're going to come out now and bring a couple of players on.
I totally agree, and I actually felt we dealt with because I'm sure there was 15 minutes to go, if not longer.
Yeah.
We dealt with that period of time really well. Like,
Yeah, excellently.
really, really well. Because again, it wasn't necessarily back to the walls either. It was,
No, we were causing them
Aye,
just
it
as
was-
many problems
yeah.
as they
Some
I was really-
they were causing us.
wide and
Aye.
we
You
did
did,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah. I was really proud of the whole game, but I honestly was really proud of that last 15 because I was thinking the old us and most teams in fairness would have just defended and hung on, but we didn't. We didn't
Yeah.
change. We just thought, okay, right, it's 3-3. We'll keep going. We're almost trying to get a winner at times, which was fantastic. Like.
So let's wrap up that game. I think all in all, you can't be disappointed with taking a point from Man City, and as we've mentioned, with a performance like that, you've got to be very, very proud of the lads, and just hope that they can continue and take that form forward. And as we've mentioned, we've got Tranmere on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Do you expect some wholesale changes though, Bestie?
You'd have thought so. You'd imagine. I mean, I know Howe likes to stick with, as I've kind of mentioned earlier, Howe stuck with the same team, enforced change notwithstanding, for 3 games now. But I think with the game, with the Premier League kind of hitting its stride now, no international break until October, I think you're going to be looking at a very different team on Wednesday. Wednesday.
When you say different, do you mean Chris Wood up front, Murphy on? That type
I
of
think
different?
so, yeah. I think,
well.
yeah. I think you might get 1 or 2.
Lascelles
I think
will be in.
Lascelles will be in.
Yeah.
Maybe
Lascelles going. Fernandez maybe?
possibly Fernandez, maybe
Lewis, Dummett.
maybe
Dummett
get
might go in there left side.
Big Butters in another game just to kind of
Yeah.
get himself.
You'd expect
Kraft
Kraft to
right back.
come in.
Yeah,
Dubravka to come in.
yeah.
So Longstaff probably start. So I think you probably
Hayden, Shelby, Hendrick.
No, there will be.
thankfully some of them won't be playing.
I think again, obviously the there's quality of opposition as well, of course, that we're playing against. But we know that watching this game, Murphy's probably going to do a few mistakes, pass the ball wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just the one thing I'm always interested about watching so many changes in the game is the identity of the team.
Yes.
If them can come on and attempt to play the same way, that's fine. Because
You'd hope so.
You would hope so. But I know sometimes I found you make changes and it's just absolutely dross. It just nothing seems to work. So that's what I'm more interested for, because I appreciate the quality's not going to be there at times. It's not the same caliber of player. I understand that.
I'd be interested to see if he starts Elliot Anderson.
There's
yeah.
another name that I didn't
I'd
just
imagine
mention.
he
Yeah.
would.
Sure.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
Because
So Callum's asking about Wednesday, and he's wondering if we're going to do a watch along.
I wish I could. I cannot, unfortunately. My
So
ass is
we'll-
away. So
We'll have to see if we can get a squad together, Callum. Hopefully the camera behaves itself as well. So we'll
I'd like
we'll
to,
have a
but
look
again,
at
I
that.
don't think Mrs. Best would be very happy with that. So.
Tell who's under the thumb around this table, eh?
well, my ass is not here. Let's not just leave my kids in there. Bring them.
They can be on the in the producer seat looking after the camera and audio.
Yeah. Do better than what we do, to be fair.
So we'll get on to some questions now. Looking ahead, I think predictions for the game on Wednesday, Bestie?
Oh, it's really hard to say, isn't it? Because we don't know who's going to be, what kind of team he's going to put out. But I want to say 2-0. Because
To Tranmere?
Dave Chalner and them throw-ins.
No, I was going to say, Dean, remind us, them throw-ins, Jesus. All right.
John Aldridge up top.
Yeah.
Aye. So 2-0, you think? Aye.
I think 2-0.
3-1.
3-1.
I've also quite liked Tranmere.
Have you?
I'm kind of glad they're back in the football league. Look,
Yeah, they had a bit of a tumble, didn't they?
Yeah, but I'm kind of glad they were in the playoffs for the Premier League like 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So they came close. I've always had a bit of a... I think it's because I've got the kit with the blue and yellow. I just like that. I think it looks smart.
So was a kit with Bessie.
Blue and green, not blue and yellow.
So there is going to be a match preview for the game. So that will be getting recorded. So you will be able to get that on early access for members. And then it'll be available for everybody else. So if you do want to become a member, Decker, what do you have to do?
I don't know. What do you do?
Just press that little button down.
Oh, aye. There's a button below you. Just press that, and there you go. Apparently, not to become a member. Subscribing it
for us is little. Another member buttons there as well.
Oh well, there's a button down there. So there you go.
Depending on your device.
Okay.
If you're not on a mobile device, it's not there. You do have to do it on a desktop, or there is a bit of a long workaround that you can do on your phone. So I like subscribing.
Oh, Marty struggled with that.
If you do want to become a member, you can become for as little as a couple of quid a month.
Well, $2.99.
$2.99, less than a pint.
What's the difference between because the $2.99 is it $3.99 or $4.99? What's the difference?
Tears.
Crying.
Yep.
Not fair play. Have we had any clarification, Mark, as to the increase in the size or the apparent increase in the size of my feet?
We haven't. I think
the
gravity was mentioned at one point,
and
the fact that
diabetes
maybe
I'll have a sniff me wee later.
Smell of sugar puffs.
Sweet.
That's we're all on the water at night trying to rehydrate, so that could be something in that. But Josh, as ever, has sent us a question in and has donated a £10. So
Josh.
Thank you for that, Josh.
What a legend, man.
So hot off the press this evening, we've seen a lot of breaking news about Pedro, not Peter Beardsley. We're not allowed to talk about him anymore, even though he was the greatest Newcastle player to ever play. Pedro, the signing from Watford. So he asked, what are our thoughts on potentially signing Pedro? Do I sound ungrateful for not being excited? 3 goals, 2 assists first season for 24 million is baffling. I feel bad being negative given where we were this time last year.
Be honest, I know bugger all about him. So I can't really. I'm excited to sign him because, well, excited might not be the right word. I'm happy to sign him. Is happy the right word? Because what surrounds him. If the club, if Eddie thinks he's good enough, if Dan Ashworth thinks he's good enough, then I'm confident that he's good enough as well. But other than that, I don't.
There does seem to be a bit of an underwhelming feeling from a lot of the fan base on the announcement of this one, and it strikes me as a little bit strange because you go back a couple of weeks and even back to January, and 99% of the fan base were massively excited that we were going to sign Hugo Ekitike.
Who? Hugo
Ekitike.
That's a fella.
You know, I just don't say the name. At least he would try. Like, I'll give you that.
And when you look at the players, there's probably not much in it. Pedro's obviously got 2-3 seasons, 2 and a bit seasons now of experience in England. Played in the Premier League, played in the Championship.
Yeah, Watford fans like him a lot, don't they? Watford fans are
a hell of a lot. And Dick, I think you were mentioning some of the things that you'd read about the fact that Watford fans, do seem a little bit sad of the fact that they could be losing him.
Loads. There was honestly loads. Bessie was reading one out just before we went live there, and it was the one I'd read where he was saying, like, obviously, sometimes you take it with a pinch of salt, but he's saying, he'll be worth £100 million and all this, and he's the best player that we've ever had and all this type of jazz. I think I don't think it's a bad thing or a snobby thing to say you're not excited by, because I'm not. Like I'm not. Like I wouldn't say I'm excited by it, but I think what you have to then look at is what you've mentioned there is that you have to trust Howe and Dan Ashworth and all whatever they're doing,
Stephen
you know,
Nixon as well.
all of them. If that's who they believe in. I mean, for example, when they signed Dan Burn, I personally didn't know much about Dan Burn at Brighton. I heard great things on Brighton.
Yeah.
Seems you've got a good nail out to take care of and all that lovely stuff on Twitter. And then he comes and he's one of the best.
He's a monster.
He's absolutely unbelievable. So, and again, that's who they've targeted and stuff. Now, obviously, this lad, in my opinion, wasn't top of the list. He could be third or fourth on that list that they've had. But he's very young, very young.
He's not much older than Nekatika, is he?
He's 20, isn't he? He's
20, yep.
He's 20, yeah. So he's only young. It is a lot. It does sound a lot of money, in fairness, as well. I think I had seen it. Was it 73 appearances and 13 goals or something like that? So
is he a striker?
He can play up front, but I'd seen left forward striker.
So
when he played against us and scored, he was left.
Yeah,
like a left
Watford
forward,
fans are all talk about the fact that he's much better in the number 10 role, which again gives me a little bit of a strange one. Which, and again, this is players that we've been looking at in the last couple of weeks that we've been linking with have been 10s, Paqueta, Maddison,
yeah.
And obviously Pedro. This one seems to be a bit more advanced from things that have came out. Obviously Romano came out and said that it's done. He doesn't normally tweet those words unless it's just about over the line. So you'd expect something to happen in the next 24, 48 hours.
Where does he fit in?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it?
Does he play where Willock has been, or do you put Willock out wide and then because Willock, I suppose, could play out wide, but he's not. I don't know.
Well,
on the right hand side.
For me, when you see him on the positions that when I was doing some research, he either plays where Maxi plays, or he plays up front. They're the positions that I've seen him play. Researched him play. I don't actually physically watched him except when he played us. I'm not. I still think that he is going to be the Wilson replacement when, you know,
if Wilson's not that
yes,
already.
or maybe can play out wide. Maybe you would then move Maxi over to the right, possibly. I'm not so sure. But obviously, again, Howe obviously has got a plan, hasn't he? That he thinks. I do honestly believe though that he is that attacking option for when Wilson's not fit. I really do.
It would make sense that the fact that we've lost Gale, he's gone out there.
Yeah.
Wilson's only really viable striker. Chris Wood's obviously that plan B if something completely different. He looks similar to Etikite in the way that he, like, even his frame and stuff like that. Again, similar age as you say. He looks like he's got a lot of skill about him. That he likes to kind of run with the ball, and he looks confident on it when he's got players in and around him, a bit like Bruno does. I'm not saying he's in the same kind of bracket there, but you like to see that confidence in a player on the ball and not panicking when he's got people around him, and that he'll come away with it or want to go past it. So there's definitely a player in there. As we've said, Watford fans are more worried about him leaving than Saw, who looked like it was a done deal until probably 8 hours ago today. So Villa.
Gerard
it's apparently falling through at the last minute.
Met him and didn't like what he'd seen of him when he talked to him. Well, I was going to say that on YouTube I watched it. It was 19. You could see he's 19 goals and assists, 19 moments if you like. And every single goal he scored is tapping, pretty much. I would say from the goals I've seen.
Very heavily right-footed as well.
And that's not a problem to me. What I'm saying is he's obviously getting in the right areas. Loads of times he's like they're crossing the ball and he's the one that's finishing it. Every single goal is a tapping. By the way,
if he's really heavily right-footed, what he could do is tie him and Miggy together. And you've got a really good 2-footed player there. Yeah, good show.
I think.
Do you feel like? Because I know you don't want to be negative because we're signing someone, we're spending money again, we should be happy. Do you feel that way though by him, or do you? How do you feel?
You've got to, like you've just said, you've got to believe in those that are scouting him and how they see him fitting in there.
I agree.
He's not a one that I would have immediately have thought that's who we need to sign. We've talking at length about that right wing position in a striker. He's not really directly one of those things. Can he potentially play in both positions? Yes. Is he nailed on to go into them and deliver in those positions, I'm not quite sure. So I think it's a one where it'll allow him to develop a little bit of time. The fact he's going to go in there with how he's going to get that development, he'll be able to learn from the players that are in and around him there without that better quality. I think from what you said, he could be the one that'll go in maybe Willock's position, and just will that allow him to play a little bit more forward as a almost that right side of the midfield.
Is that Willock?
Three, yeah, rather than a right winger where Miggy's been playing, because I don't see him playing out on the right wing because he is so right-footed. But I don't see. I cannot see him getting.
Well, you could play right wing if you're right-footed, like, but you could.
It's back in the day winger, isn't it? That's the.
But no, I honestly, I really feel like he's going to be that attacking option for as cover for Wilson. Like, we do. Well, I know Wood is technically as well. Like,
even if we've talked about his goal record and that. I mean, at the start of the window, I don't think anyone was saying, "No, he's on my list. Joao Pedro's going to be this, that, and t'other." Sorry. If we are spending the money that's been touted on him, and he's not going to be in the first team, it's saying that we're serious about kind of a long-term project and all that. And 25 million, is it? That's been
25 plus 5 million add-ons is what's been discussed.
Like that's if he's not going to oust Maximin if he's the left-sided midfielder or left-sided attacker. Wilson, you'd imagine if he's fit, is still going to start because he's got 3 goals this season so far. 32, whatever it is.
Wilson's always going to start.
Yeah. So that would suggest to me that he's not going to come straight. But he wouldn't come in straight in the first team anyway, because that's not what Howe does. You look at Guimaraes and Botman are both had to. Botman's played a couple of games now because of Target's injury, but they've both had to wait. So to me that suggests that I'm maybe excited for the future more than for the immediate impact that he might have.
Because he is only really young. He's 20 years old. I mean, it's mad when you see the date, but it's 2001, I think.
September 2001.
It just makes you feel terrible, doesn't it?
But like, it's as you say, his age, he's one for the future, isn't he? And you just think. I mean, Scott, you said there, it's Chris Wood money.
Yeah.
So when you. And I know that obviously at different ends of the career, you're buying Chris Wood because of all of the experience that he's got.
And we're desperate.
We were desperate at the time. You invest in that same amount of fee in what this player could potentially be. And again, I think that was the same of what we were approaching with Hugo. I'll keep it simple this time.
The Chris Wood thing, I mean, I'd like to kind of go on record and say that I still think without Chris Wood, there's a good chance we go down last season.
Me mate Danish Texas here saying he's a main striker, Decker, you're right, but versatile across the front line. Mm-hmm. So there we go.
Cheers, Dan.
Cheers, Dano. Good lad, Dan,
I like Dan.
Good
lad. So let's have a little look at what else we've got. So Jordy Croft, if Wilson stays fit, which is a big if, does he score more or less than 20 goals?
Jordy Croft, like Jordy Crawford.
I think so, yeah.
I used to work in a Stag's Head in South Shields, and there was an old lad called Jordy Crawford. You would shit yourself more often than not. He would, old fella used to...
Don't know if this is the same Jordy Crawford.
No. I was
let us know in the comments if you do shit yourself regularly.
I hope not, because I was at Jordy's funeral 20 years ago. So to turn up for the books of your hairs. But I know, nice fella, Jordy. Would drink pints of Bass, go upstairs. I had to put him away a few times back in his underpants and that, because he was just... He couldn't have it. Nice fella, Jordy. What was Jordy's question, sorry, Mark?
If Wilson stays fit, will he score 20 goals or under 20 goals?
Bearing in mind what he did last season when he missed half of the season and still...
I think if he stays fit, he gets 20 plus, like, yeah.
You reckon,
yeah.
Quality that he's got around himself in the team now as well.
Mm-hmm. But I suppose the question is if he stays fit, so we're going to say he's going to play every game, right?
Yeah. So it's 1 and 2 more or less.
Okay, so he maybe you get very you get very close to it, yeah. I don't know why I've got 16, 17 stuck in my head, but do you know what it is? I think it's because I'm looking at the side that he's not going to stay fit. I think that's not the question. The question is if he does. He's got it. Listen, to be fair to him,
it's 1 and 2.
He's got all the quality to do so, right? The guy is just exceptional, leading the line, and the goal he scored yesterday was just ridiculous. Really, it was a beautiful goal.
Let's be positive and confident here. We'll have a good run in the cup, 2 cups, gives himself an extra few games to get in there. His record isn't that far off. I think it's 2.2 in one, something like that. So
I think
potentially it's doable.
I think, if he stays fit, plays 38 games, he's certainly capable of getting 20.
So
remember when blokes will get 30?
Well, that yeah.
Well,
no. Andy Cole got
Oh,
42.
Cole,
I think.
yeah.
42, man.
Mine was a 42-game season as well.
Yeah,
that.
well,
And
well.
that was League and Cup.
Let's not criticise him, but
Sorry, caveats.
what was I going to say? But listen, if he was on that type of
Might
form,
have Pedro to set him up as well.
does he go to the World Cup then? Would he go to the World Cup if he's in that vein of form? Yeah.
Would he go to the World Cup? I mean, you've got Kane's obviously going to be first choice.
Yeah.
Southgate was at the game yesterday.
Yeah, he was.
Be looking at Pope, do you think, now? I bet
Pope,
Pope would have left a
Trippier.
mark on him, like Trippier. Yeah.
That goal Everton conceded at the weekend again. What's his Pickford? He just pushes it out with the strike.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, I've said on here, I don't think Pickford's a bad goalkeeper, but he makes a lot of mistakes. I think Pope's got a shout. But Wilson go to the World Cup. He's an option, like. I mean, what is it? 3 months away. It's now August the 22nd, so 3 months away in November. Yeah, it is the World Cup in 3 months. So I think
Howe also said it in his press comments, not Friday gone, I think the one before, they asked him about Southgate, and he says, we talk quite regularly, and Callum's name does come up. And it's bound to. I mean, of course I'd love him to go, because I'd love to be watching the World Cup and see Pope as the number 1 and Wilson as the 9. Well, he wouldn't start, of course, but I mean, come off the bench or whatever and have a moment. But selfishly, you don't want that, do you? Because I'd hate for him to get injured.
You want him to
and then come back and we haven't got him. So it's,
especially with the injury record he has.
Absolutely.
As well. You see St. Maximin's tweet. He says something along the lines of, I hope Deschamps has got his Canal Plus card working. Something like that. Because he's obviously he hasn't played for France, has
he's
he? But
desperate to play for him.
how can you ignore? I mean, you've got Mbappe. I suppose you've got a lot of really, really.
There's
good
a lot
players,
of talent
but
ahead of him at the minute. Yeah.
The squad.
How can he? He's surely worth a look.
Well, I would say so.
France,
Obviously,
I mean,
I'm biased.
Let's not get carried away.
sorry.
He's had one good game.
Yeah. Go on, Mark. Bring us back down to earth.
Not when you've got Ekatikne gear.
Well, that's the thing. I bet
PSG.
he's probably. This is the weird thing. He's probably more likely to get called up before than Satan, wouldn't he?
Possibly.
Just from the fact of who he's now playing for.
Mind will have sat in the recent past and said St. Maximin's been out of form, and I think just a couple of weeks ago his head was down and all that, and you think, well,
I just think people are quick to jump on him, but
I
also
agree
what I
with
would say is every player has runs of form.
yeah.
Every player, Alan Shearer did this. Christ almighty, man! He wouldn't. People were saying he shouldn't have went to Euro '96 because he hadn't scored
18
for
months or something.
18
It was a
months.
long time.
Like I said about
every
Kane
single
the same,
player
didn't
has
it?
that
Like in the run up to the was it Euros or the World Cup? I can't remember now. It's been
which one it was.
that close
Oh,
together,
the
haven't
Euros,
they?
But then to Maximin, I mean, he's. I just like him. I really like the bloke. Like, I mean,
I still think there's people. People are different. You see, I absolutely adore Ginola, right?
yeah.
And I mean the output from Maximum is just absolutely. Let's be clear here, night and day compared to what Ginola did, right? In terms of numbers, right?
Yeah.
And I absolutely
Ginola
adore
tackles back more.
But
He
don't
did,
be
right.
so ridiculous.
John Brentford got subbed once for complaining about it, didn't he?
But I love that, right? I loved Ben Arthur. I do love that style of player, and I do feel that there's people out there that just don't.
Lazy, moody Frenchman.
They just don't. And it's really hard for them to, like, he's one of them. It's really hard. Really hard.
It does tend to be the older generation.
It does. Them expect that out of Maxi.
Coming from you.
They'll expect that performance now every single week.
Yeah.
And that is not going to happen. So get that out of your head straight away.
Aye.
It's just not. And as I say, I just think I've always liked that type of player because they're different. They can win you a game. I've always liked that. And I don't get us wrong. I appreciate there'll be times the Brighton game he infuriated us. But that's life, right? Almiron's infuriated us billions of times, but I still love Almiron.
Almiron's infuriated
Do you know what I
me.
mean? Like,
in the 2 home games this season, he's been one of the better players.
oh, but
Some of the
right.
chances,
Oh, but-
he's still that composure. But then, I mean, he scored with his cock yesterday.
That was a good finish, That was a bloody good finish. Because there was nothing else he could really do except
Chucked
that.
himself.
I
And
thought he
just
pumped it into the back of the net.
Literally come past Willock's boot.
It was a brilliant finish
Aye.
in a weird way. Any more questions?
Yeah, so we land on this one from Scott Eo. So we've talked about obviously the England
Has
squad,
Scott been giving you money?
and he's just
How
coming
was
in with
Scott?
some fantastic comments tonight.
How was Scott?
So we've talked about the England squad and players getting called up. Scotty, he says, how is Joe Linton not in the Brazilian team?
I saw a
is a
thing.
bigger question.
I saw a thing last week on Twitter. It was a Newcastle fan that put it on. It was like the strength, and it wasn't necessarily saying Joe Linton's it was the strength and depth that Brazil have. He says, I've never seen a team like this before. You've got Neymar up front, you've got Coutinho in the mixer, Bruno, you've got and Joe Linton's name was in there.
And Fred.
I think he was actually beneath Fred, which I was a little bit kind of, hang on a sec. But he's same as Maximin. I don't understand how he's not. Surely they're looking at him. Surely.
Well, I think it goes back to what was said before about consistency. And I would say the reason why Maxi's not is because the consistency is not over. The thing is with Maxi though, if I was an international manager, right, you would think if I take him and we were trailing a game or I needed something, he has the spark to maybe get what I would need in that 10-minute window or whatever it might be. Whereas with Joe Linton's argument though, it's the consistency that he's shown. Yeah. Like surely now he has to be on the radar of the national manager.
He's basically just a fucking 6'3" pair of lungs.
Yeah,
he's a fittest. I've never
and thighs
runs like mad
and coughs.
He's got lush legs.
But then to actually say that, imagine the heat in Qatar. 70 minutes in the clock, everyone's not that.
That's what I'm.
Bring him on, he'll terrorise.
Can you imagine? Nobody, no right back in the world at that moment want him coming at you.
Nah.
And I'm not saying he starts. I'm not saying he. But I just as I say, could change a game. Yeah. But Joe Linton, in terms of what he's offered for such a longevity of time now, he'd definitely be on the list. They're definitely watching.
He's got to be. He's got to be in there, even if he. In that, you know, he'll have the big squad and whittle it down a little bit. Mm-hmm. I don't know how that's going to work this year with it being like in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Although it's obviously seasons are different times in Brazil. And
mental list won't come in. Like
it's I don't care for it.
No, I don't either.
It should have been this summer gone, shouldn't it? But yeah, I think Joe Linton not being too clued up in like the depth of Brazilian football in the national team. If he's not playing, then they will cut us. Get the money on him now because he's
the boy, isn't he? He's the boy.
He's got to be in with a shout, doesn't he?
Man.
You think it's going to be lush when that moment comes, when the years go on and we become that club where literally every one of our players is representing. You're trying to tell you when you're watching like Brazil against France and we'll have 3 players on the pitch that are ours. Like, it'd be a lovely moment, that, wouldn't it?
It will be, yeah. It will be. It's weird because I'm the same as you. I've got that little bit of kind of apprehensiveness where I think I don't want. If Wilson's there, St. Maximin's there, Joe Linton, Bruno, I think, God, don't get injured, lads.
Yeah.
Don't get injured, whatever you do. But then the Trippier, he'll be there as well. Yeah. Pope maybe.
Botman, Shea.
Fair comment.
Maybe Botman hasn't played for the Dutch yet, has he?
No, he could be in with a shout.
But I think obviously if you want to be as good as we want to be, you have to have them type of players. It's the caveat, isn't it? Yeah.
But I loved it like when it was Euro 2012. I had Kawhi was there and Debussy. I don't know if I'd signed that yet, but Andy Carroll, he was at Liverpool by that point. But seeing him score the header against Sweden, it's like I just want to see it.
Yeah,
I do. I remember being at Bayern in Newcastle. Mark, you were only a couple of years older than me. In fact, we're all about the same, near enough. Mm-hmm. Age. Growing up in Newcastle, just didn't have any international footballers playing for them at all. Mm-hmm. Like the Division 2 team in the 90s, where.
Wasn't it really? We got Euro 96, wasn't it? Like around that period, Batty, Lee,
Philippe Albert,
Shearer,
and Mark Odegaard was Swiss first choice right back.
Keegan signed him after the World Cup, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think that's like this one coming. It would be in certain games if you had Pope, Trippier, Wilson happen to all be on the pitch at once for 10 minutes maybe at the end of a game or something. It would be lovely. Like it would be nice.
But I remember when I was at Bayern, I had a photo, or it was a poster. I think it was out of the Black and White magazine of Steve Howe in the England kit. Mm-hmm. And I think he was only on the bench, but it was the green flag. And it was like I was so proud of him because he was our lad, and he was playing for England, was representing Les Ferdinand. Rob Lee won the squad in '98.
That's right.
Obviously the big and Shearer as well. So I really want to see it. And again, as Decker says, the more players that you have playing in World Cups, it's an indication that you're a better side.
Absolutely.
I thought me as a confident. I like going through the sticker album, page by page, and just looking to see who plays for Newcastle.
I know. I knew you would do that.
That's who you. I bet you flicked through it very quickly in the last few years.
Yeah, just share.
Share. Yeah.
Or someone else.
Kraft will be in there.
Emil will be there. Yeah. So it's exciting, and it's kind of if things go as I anticipate it to go, and we keep on improving our stature, become a bigger, better football club, then it's going to happen.
Yep, totally agree.
Yeah, exciting, very exciting indeed.
It is exciting future ahead for Newcastle United, and an exciting week for Newcastle United and for the channel. So if you've liked what you've seen tonight, do consider liking and subscribing this video. And if you really like us, you can even become a member. You get to see even more of us and even more people that aren't sitting around this table now.
I don't want to get to see more of it, do they? I'm not wearing a shorter shirt.
Yeah, but if you remember, you get the under the table cam.
No, that's true as well.
Give them a little wave.
Check out me What with?
You want to pull that left trouser leg down a little bit? So thank you for watching and joining us tonight. It is much appreciated. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a very pleasant experience. It's always nice to talk on the back of a good result.
It's the first time us three have been in a room together since like April or something as well.
It's just been mad, isn't it?
There's
Yeah.
been one of
Probably in
us.
that, yeah. It's been a while.
Leading busy
And
lives.
what I do know is Chris would have had us wrapped up hours ago.
Oh, God, I was 10 to now. 10 to 10. I've got to get shops yet,
Definitely would have finished
I need
at
to buy
least
juice.
15 minutes
I mean,
ago.
that's my orange juice. I'm going to have to go to Asda now.
That is huge.
Well, that's what happens when you get carried away, like listening to lovely chat.
Lovely chatting to you,
So-
though. And I'm just trying to keep it going until the Liverpool match ends as well. 'Cause injury time now.
Well, no, we are going now, so thank you for watching and keep an eye out on the channel for more stuff coming this week. As I say, we will have the preview of Wednesday's game. We might try and get a watch-along sorted if we can pull a squad together, and then we'll have a preview for the weekend's
Extra
game.
time as well. The fantasy
Extra
football
time will be in there back end of the week.
Absolutely shitloads of stuff.
Content coming out of your ears. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you later.